Watching News at Prime, we begin with this. Ace Magashule's former personal assistant, Moroadi Cholota, is expected to make her first court appearance at the Bloemfontein court tomorrow. She arrived in the country on Thursday night after being extradited from the United States. Cholota will face fraud and corruption charges linked to the 255 million rand Free State asbestos scandal. Newzroom Afrika's Veronica Makhoali is in Bloemfontein. That's ahead of that appearance tomorrow. Veronica, good evening to you. Let's start with what we can expect to happen in court tomorrow.
Well, good evening to you, Xoli. As you've mentioned, we are here in the Free State in Bloemfontein, where the 37-year-old suspect is expected to appear at the Bloemfontein Magistrate Court, and she'll be facing those charges of fraud, corruption, as well as money laundering. And of course, as you mentioned, this is all to do with that corruption scandal of the asbestos project that came at the cost of 255 million. And so essentially, as Cholota enters the court tomorrow, we are expecting that her legal team will be, of course, putting forward an application for bail. And this is, of course, ahead of the actual asbestos trial, which is expected to take place in April next year. We can, of course, expect this is her first appearance in this matter. You would remember she was arrested last Thursday at Tambo International Airport, where she touched down from the US after a successful extradition process by SAPS Interpol that saw her plane landing in South Africa at 1924. We saw that heavy police guard that surrounded her as she was taken into the police station where an official arrest was taking place. And we saw her coming out of that police station as well in handcuffs, put in the back of a Hawks vehicle. That's when she was taken back to this province. And since then, she's been held in custody. And tomorrow we'll have that first opportunity as well to see the accused after that very lengthy extradition process that you would as well remember, Xoli, in regards to the South African authorities working at lengths to get her here, as you would remember, who she's now an accused, but before a witness in this matter, who was really crucial as well in terms of the sequence of events that took place, and perhaps also the pointing out of, some of the key facts in what led to the siphoning of 255 million rand in the asbestos project. Xoli.
Veronica, you were just describing the whole scene at the airport on Thursday night. You were there reporting on her arrival. Ace Magashule reacting to the kind of heavy security around the suspect, saying that this was unnecessary and the Hollywood-style type of arrest, bemoaning that, saying that it is tantamount to intimidation. I'm just wondering whether the authorities have responded at all, because he actually issued this complaint through his new political party through a statement. And I'm just wondering whether the authorities have had time to entertain that complaint.
Well, what I do know, Xoli, as well, from the National Police National Spokesperson, Athlenda Mate, who, spoke on the sidelines, in fact, about the heavy police presence that was there. It seemed as though, obviously, this was quite a lot of law enforcement officials for one individual. But what is important to understand is many of the law enforcement there worked for various different units. You'd remember, Xoli, the day she'd arrived on that Thursday, that there was quite a process that had to take place. This included members from the tactical response team meeting with SAPS Interpol, having that handover process once again with the Interpol from the US, and then of course that process of bringing her into the country, moving her into the police station, handing her over to the Hawks, who have been handling and investigating this matter. And so that is obviously the criticism that surrounds the heavy police presence, but it can be justified in the sense that this is a lawful extradition, and so matters in terms of how that handover process had to take place involved law enforcement from various units to make sure that, of course, this handover was, done in terms of the law, in terms of the processes that is followed as well for law enforcement officials. And also what is important is to understand that there had to be a certain level of security, secure this accused, and to make sure that she does appear in court. And while some may have criticized the heavy-handedness, it is worth noting as well that this was in the midst of OR Tambo International Airport, a national key point, if you would like. And so it is also, quite important that this was done in such a way that the accused, Cholota, was surrounded and made sure that she was moved into the police station in a precise manner. And so we'd also be expecting as well, Xoli, if we will be seeing that kind of police presence in court tomorrow, whether or not they should be coming in as well in handcuffs. And I think this also speaks to how the Hawks is treating this matter in the way in which the accused is also treated. And we'll be paying attention to that as well to see if there is any of that, extra security in the magistrate court, or if this was simply just a matter that needed to take place in terms of that extradition process.
Yeah, just wrapping up this discussion then, Veronica. Tomorrow, as you've already indicated, the likelihood is that she will apply for bail. If that doesn't succeed, surely that would be a long wait for her to wait until the start of the trial date, because this case has been postponed to next year.
Absolutely. And in fact, before even the trial date being postponed to next year, we've seen quite a lengthy court process in regards to the asbestos matter. The accused coming in and out of court, and you'd understand that there are over 10 companies involved in this matter and several individuals. And so this has been quite a difficult process in terms of the Hawks getting this matter to trial, which is expected to happen in April next year. But you would also understand that I'm sure her legal representative will bring forward that very fact, as the matter will be heard only in April. I'm sure they will be in that bail application speaking of the conditions of the accused now back in South Africa, and perhaps maybe speaking about whether or not she is a flight risk, whether or not she will be, intimidating some of the witnesses. And I think this is what the legal representative team will be bringing forward to make sure that she is granted that bail application, so that she is not remanded in custody up until April, as some of the accused in this matter have already been granted bail. And I think it's also important to note as well that when this matter heads to trial, it does, with her arrest, with her extradition back here in South Africa, it does bring a final moment to the Hawks' case in ensuring that they've got a watertight case. You'd remember when we were at OR Tambo International Airport, the Hawks spokesperson, Pilani Nkwanasi, there saying that this is a momentous moment for them in regards to this matter, and that they are confident with the accused back in South Africa that they will be able to do due justice to this matter and head it to trial. Oli.
Veronica Makhoali, thank you very much for that comprehensive update live for us there in Bloemfontein ahead of that court appearance tomorrow.